In the relentless world of Port Charles, where secrets simmer just beneath the surface and loyalties fracture under the pressure of power and passion, the courtroom once again becomes a battleground. The custody fight between Michael Corinthos and Willow Tate is more than a legal dispute. It is a crucible of betrayal, hidden truths, and emotional reckoning that threatens to redefine the lives of not only Wiley and Amelia, but of every adult who dares step into that courtroom. As the hearing begins, what was once a private family matter erupts into a public spectacle where reputations are shattered and unexpected alliances are tested. And at the heart of it all stands Sasha Corbin, a woman whose silence has long protected those she loves, but whose testimony now has the potential to destroy them. From the moment Rick Lansing positioned himself as Willow's legal and strategic ally, it was clear that he intended to play the game ruthlessly. With Nina Reeves feeding him suspicions and half-truths, Rick uncovered a secret he believed could tip the balance irrevocably: that Sasha Corbin, long thought to be an isolated party in this custody war, was actually carrying Michael's unborn child. This revelation, if confirmed under oath, would call into question Michael's credibility and moral integrity in the eyes of the court. It would paint him not only as a man embroiled in yet another complex romantic entanglement, but as someone willing to conceal life-altering truths during a custody hearing that demands absolute transparency. Sasha, deeply conflicted and visibly shaken, entered the courtroom under a cloud of dread. She had not intended to be part of this conflict, but as the subpoena forced her into the spotlight, she knew that neutrality was no longer an option. Rick's questioning was sharp and deliberate, cornering her with escalating inquiries until the weight of silence became unbearable. When Sasha finally broke, confirming that Michael was indeed the father of her unborn child, a collective gasp echoed through the courtroom. Willow's legal team seized the moment, emphasizing the secrecy and framing Michael's conduct as deceptive, an intentional withholding of information that could undermine the children's emotional stability. But even as the courtroom murmured with shock and whispered judgment, a new possibility began to unfold. Sasha, devastated by the consequences of her revelation, realized that truth alone could not serve justice unless it was complete. In a whispered exchange during a recess, she approached Diane Miller, Michael's seasoned and formidable attorney, with information that would change the entire narrative. She had long suspected, and now confirmed, that Nina and Drew had been engaged in a clandestine affair, even as Drew continued to court Willow both personally and professionally. The implications were explosive. If Michael's hidden paternity was a strike against him, then Drew's duplicity and Nina's manipulation could not go unchallenged. When Diane resumed cross-examination, she did so with a controlled intensity that only years of courtroom warfare could produce. She guided Sasha carefully, step by step, until the bombshell dropped. Sasha testified that she had direct knowledge, backed by messages and timing inconsistencies, that Nina Reeves and Drew Kane had been sexually involved while Drew was actively trying to rebuild his romantic connection with Willow. The courtroom, once again, was thrown into chaos. Nina's carefully constructed image of maternal concern crumbled in real time, and Drew's sincerity was shattered under the weight of his own deception. What had begun as a straightforward custody hearing had now become a public unmasking of every adult involved. The judge, clearly unsettled by the cascading revelations, called for an immediate recess. Both sides scrambled to recalibrate their arguments, their positions destabilized by the emotional aftershocks. For Willow, the situation was now more complicated than ever. Her ally Drew had betrayed her, not only romantically but in the courtroom strategy they had plotted together. For Michael, his lie by omission regarding Sasha was now tempered by his team's exposure of a deeper betrayal on the other side. Amidst this whirlwind, the children, Wiley and Amelia, remained the silent core around which all this chaos orbited. The court would eventually need to decide what was best for them, but it could no longer do so based on the clean, polished narratives initially presented. The judge now had to weigh two broken stories, one in which a father had concealed a new child out of fear, and one in which a mother had aligned herself with a man who had secretly been entangled with her own mother. The toxicity of every adult's actions had seeped into the courtroom walls, and now the consequences were unavoidable. But perhaps the most profound shift occurred not in legal briefs or testimony, but in the silent reconciliation that began between Michael and Sasha. As they sat across from one another, two people who had shared both trauma and intimacy, they recognized that what had brought them here was not malice or manipulation, but fear and love. Sasha had stepped forward not to destroy Michael, but to save him from a narrative where he would be demonized without context. And Michael, in seeing Sasha's pain and strength, remembered why he had trusted her with his truth in the first place. Whether or not the court awards Michael sole custody, or grants Willow the right to raise the children in a home untethered from the weight of the Corinthos legacy, one thing has become clear: the people of Port Charles are forever changed. The fallout from this hearing will echo in boardrooms, in bedrooms, and in family dinners for weeks to come. Trust has been broken, alliances have shifted, and what once seemed like a winnable case has turned into a moral reckoning. For Sasha, this may mark the beginning of a quiet redemption, a chance to reclaim her voice and protect her child on her own terms. For Michael, it is a reminder that power without honesty is fragile. And for Willow, it is a devastating moment of clarity, forcing her to confront not only who she trusted, but why she continues to seek control over lives built on instability. The battle may soon end, but the war of consequence has only just begun.